1, 2, 3, in the place to be, as it is plain to see. Talking right now is Cam, Kaze, and you're listening to Written on the Canvas. Don't miss a minute of the action. Woo!
Welcome to episode 12 of Written on the Canvas. A very special episode, I might add. An episode that our own Jacqueline calls RAMBLIN. And because today we have a very special guest, one of our Canada's hottest independent contractors, Mr. Cam Kaze. Cam, thank you so much for being here.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's have some fun today here.
Yeah, awesome. We've been trying to do this for a while, and it's just scheduling issues, or the last attempt we did was faulty internet and everything. So again, thank you so much. Now that we finally have this going, this is great.
Absolutely. Rock and roll, man. Feeling good.
So you started wrestling in 2004. What exactly would you say got you into it, wrestling in general?
My father, I was exposed to it from him watching. I remember we had like a VHS tape, WrestleMania 3. Seen like Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat tearing it up, and then Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan in the main event. And just watching wrestling with my dad on Saturday mornings, Saturday nights. And then I kind of fell out of it. And then my parents divorced. And then grade 7, we would go to my dad's house every Monday, my sister and I, to watch, just hang out and spend time. But like Monday Night Raw was then, so we'd watch that and have supper. And then I got reintroduced to the Attitude Era in 1998. Yeah, but I'd credit my father. Papa Kaze is the one that really got me into professional wrestling, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, I started watching wrestling with my dad. WrestleMania 21 was what got me into it. Seeing John Cena and Batista reach the top of the mountain. I gotta say, a good starting off point. My dad would talk about all the stories of Stampede wrestling, however. So it's really cool just hearing the perspective of like what seems a world completely gone.
Yeah, that's a golden time of guys and girls that paved the way for people like me. It's the stuff I love to watch the most, to be honest, is the old stuff from the early 1900s and black and white all the way up to the early 2000s and everything in between. I think those are some of the most experienced and some of the best workers and professionals you're going to see, to be honest, in all respect to the modern day age stars you see on TV today. They just worked a crazier, longer schedule. They learned the tricks of the trade and had more experience doing it night after night after night. Yeah, I love watching the old stuff. You learn so much.
Oh, hands down. You'd hear stories about the wrestlers going to their car and having their tires slashed, the possibility of getting battery acid thrown in their face. Yeah, like even like the latest documentary, Sings in the Ring, you'd hear all about how Gama Singh would get all this nuclear heat.
Yep. White hot heat. Yep.
Yeah, like to the point where it can get legit dangerous. And you hear stories of wrestlers saying they want that kind of heat, but it's like, that's like...
At what cost?
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of, that's the art behind it, is just making these people believe and getting under their skin to such a degree that that's like real heat. And I do wish we had more of that, to be honest. The internet kind of exposes things a bit, so it makes it very difficult now. But that, to my opinion, that's the golden age of stuff, man. That's the art. If you want to learn how to get good at this, you watch all that old stuff like that. That's how it's done, man. Roddy Piper, Gama Singh, these great heels. And with a great heel, you need a great baby face. And to me, it's magic when you get a good baby face, a good heel together. It's magic, man. That's what this is all about. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful art.
You said going back and watching the greats, you did see guys like Gorgeous George, who are still very influential to this day. And not to mention these legit, real tough guys like Harley Race, just these big guys who shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. But here they are just flying around like they're cruiserweights, and it's insane.
Yeah, it's this is an industry of incredible athletes, larger than life, charismatic figures. But yeah, that's the big one. You say like these large, burly men just getting tossed around. Like, this is a business of incredible athletes. It really is. There's nothing like it. It's a one-of-a-kind profession. Absolutely.
Real life superheroes.
Yes, absolutely. Well said.
No disrespect to MMA or anything like that, but you're not going to see anybody throw a fireball in someone's face.
Yeah, and that's what that extra pizzazz, or extra showmanship behind things. You don't get that anywhere else. It's live action theater. Yep. It's one take. We're the best one take performers, in my opinion. anywhere, you know?
Well, throughout your long career, you must have seen some really crazy stuff. What would you say are some of the things that still stick with you? Like the holy crap, I can't believe I just saw that.
Geez, I don't know. Like, a lot of just on the road, there's some crazy things that happen, like close calls or accidents or, you know, and then there's always confrontations with some of the guys going on. Like, yeah, it's a mixed bag of things for sure. I guess I've seen some stuff for sure, but, yeah, I'm trying to think of some stories that, you know, it's like appropriate to talk about, but you know, it's a business of tough men and women, a lot of miles put on the road, and just eccentric, larger than life misfits all put together in a big mix, a big melting pot, and you get all kinds of elements and combustible elements, and you make some good friends too along the way, but it's a crazy, crazy life, no doubt.
It's a community.
Yeah.
Wrestling is a community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of legends, you trained with the Hearts at one point, Chi Chi Cruz, Lance Storm, and Roddy Piper, I assume. And you also attended a seminar focusing on old school British wrestling. What was that experience like?
Well, I spent 7 months in the UK, and I got to wrestle just that old school technical wrestling style. You know, British rounds matches are amazing. You know, go 5 rounds, 10 rounds. I got to train with Steve Gray, who's a World of Sport legend out there. And, just that old school mentality is very much still alive and well in the UK and the scene. So I fit right in because I love the old school anyways. I respect it. I try and incorporate it more into my work. So out there, it was second nature, and I learned a lot of cool tricks of the trade. But Steve Gray was amazing, man. And if you watch his stuff back in World of Sport, like, it's a hell of a little cruiserweight, man. And that style is just unparalleled technical wise, and just the way they snatch holds and how quick they are and how technically sound. Everyone out there is very, very, they can wrestle. They're some of the best wrestlers I've encountered. You know, North America is okay, but the UK is on a whole other level. European British style. For sure.
Yeah, there's so many crazy styles out there. And now that there's so much wrestling and so much eyes on the product, like AAA being acquired by WWE, obviously means more eyes on the product, which means more eyes on wrestlers like Psycho Clown, Mr. Iguana, and of course, Microman. Like, that's fun. That's fun. Again, where else are you going to see someone like Omos face to face with Microman?
That's right. And that's the thing with wrestling too. It's like a 3-ring circus, but there's multiple rings. There's more than 3. You get everything from the little people to the hardcore style to the lucha libre to the technical wrestling to the big powerhouses. You know, it's just, and the women wrestlers, like, it's such a mixed, awesome bag. It's like multiple rings of a circus all just going on, and it all coexists and works and gels quite well together. It's great entertainment. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Who would you say are some of the most influential wrestlers, or even just like people in your life that you still follow the lessons of to this day?
Well, just influential. The original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, I'm just a huge fan of. He was just revolutionary, ahead of his time. His matches with Dynamite Kid are just unbelievable. I could watch him over and over again. Yeah, I'd say Tiger Mask is a big one. Rob Van Dam was a big influence on me. I wanted to be just like Rob Van Dam. Mick Foley was a big, big influence, a big idol of mine getting into things in 1998. Yeah, I mean, like, the list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I love AWA. I love Nick Bockwinkel, Billy Robinson, Vern Gagne. Just these old school wrestlers that could really go and like could shoot and hook, you know. So many. Mr. Perfect, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. There's just so many. Too Cold Scorpio, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. So many good talents, man. That's just off the top of my head, just naming some of my personal favorite. Yeah, and then like influences from teachers. I mean, Roddy Piper was amazing. I was so lucky to train with him.
Get the f*** out. Out! It's my show. I will look into their hearts. You need to make it by this next show, or you should get the f*** out. The thing.
Oh my God!
A world of risk. A world of hurt.
A very small group of people that got to train with him, so that's something I take pride in. I was one of the small groups of people that got to do that. And he helped me with my promos and just talking and just the gift of gab, being able to cut a good promo and finding yourself, your character. And all it really is just yourself, but amped up to 100. Those are the real, true, good characters. It's really just an extension of yourself, but amped up to 100. or even more. And so that's what Kamikaze is. It's me, but it's just amped up. That's the only profession I can express myself properly. I can't do this in an office job, having the crazy hair and stuff like that. And you know, I can't get away with that. All the colors but in wrestling I can, and it's my job. That's my calling.
Well, to be fair, if I went to go do my taxes and I saw an accountant look like you, I would feel very safe. I would know this guy knows how to take care.
This guy's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I can vibe with this guy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Appreciate it, buddy.
Like I hear what you mean. Like things move so quickly now. Like you go back, Rowdy Piper was one of the pillars of the WWF and the territories. Like we got a request to review the Royal Rumble 1991, and him and Gorilla Monsoon were on commentary, and I loved it.
Yeah.
These guys, like Vince McMahon, just let Roddy Piper be Roddy Piper, and that's what you got. You let Macho Man be the Macho Man, and that's what you got. That's why I think you still talk about these legends from the past, like Macho Man, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, so many great talkers, Dusty Rhodes, so many. I don't find we talk about as many modern day new people as we do the old school guys. Like there's not as many like big superstars that stand out anymore. You know what I mean? Like
everyone kind of feels the same.
Yeah.
Well, one of the biggest, hottest acts is a German guy pretending to be a Mexican, pretending to be an American with his two sidekicks in masks. Not to mention, growing up, like some of my favorite characters were like those gimmick ones, like Pirate Paul Burchill. I thought was so cool. I mean, like he got a lot of flack about being like, oh, he's just a Pirates of the Caribbean ripoff. But it's like, come on, that was awesome. He swung to the ring in a rope, and also the Boogeyman, he scared the crap out of me as a kid.
I loved the Boogeyman.
I loved him so much, though.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is an industry of larger-than-life, charismatic characters and individuals. And, like, not everyone has to have an outlandish gimmick, but, like, at the same time, if they're just amped up in themselves and they have an it factor and a charisma to them, you know, that's what sells. That's what moves merchandise. That's what puts asses in seats. That's what puts, you know, moves the tickets. That's what it's about. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like very cookie cutter in a lot this day and age. And I find, like, I hate to say it, like, I find like a lot of mediocrity is being rewarded this day and age. Like,
Do you feel
that too? Yeah. 100%.
I gotta say, the reason why I got back into wrestling like 3-4 years ago was because of the stories. But now lately I feel like the writing has been flat and there are no good payoffs, and it's just the same repetitive episodic filler we get every week. There's no satisfaction anymore. It's just the same shit we see every week. There's nothing that drives the story. Action should drive the story. My field is writing, so I'm very passionate about this.
That makes perfect sense, especially as a writer. You would pick up on that and notice that. No, you're not wrong at all. Completely honest with you, like I haven't watched the modern product in years. I'd rather watch old stuff, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for guys. There's islands of talent in a whole sea of shit, is an old saying I was told. But it's true. Like there are good guys, but there's a lot of muck in there as well, and it's more corporate for sure. But no, stories. This is what we do. We're storytellers. This is what it's all about. It's playing with people's emotions, telling good stories, and you know, pulling at people's heartstrings and pulling the carpet from underneath their legs at certain points, and twists and turns and lefts and rights. And, you know, you need good, captivating stories. And that is something that's been lacking. You're absolutely right. I'm glad to hear you guys are saying that, because I felt like that for a very long time. That being said, like, we love this and we want to see it succeed. I think wrestling fans are some of the most loyal fans ever around. Like, despite how bad it may be, they still watch and want it to be good and hope it's good and wish it's good. And they're loyal and dedicated. They'll watch week after week and put up with a lot of shit.
The reason why we get so mad is because we care so much. We are invested. These are our lives. These characters are who we invested in. You know, for somebody like us, like, we're huge Chelsea Green fans. We've seen her do her thing, and we love what she's doing. And you know, like, you can't fault somebody for, following their dreams and everything like that. And a lot of times they're doing their job. So it can be very frustrating. However, like, I really appreciate indie shows like the one I saw you in Grand Prairie for. Not gonna lie, that DDT on the chair must have really hurt.
Yeah, drove my noggin in the mat, and I was pretty messed up, but I made the comeback at the end there, thankfully. But
yeah, definitely. Just having the crowd interact with Chad Daniels versus Zombie Killer Mentalo, that was fun. And them clapping back at us. It's one of those things where you remember why you're such a wrestling fan. We're not WWE fans. We're not AEW fans. We're wrestling fans. It's our escape. And for you, it's even more than that.
Yeah, well, you guys are right. I mean, especially at live independent shows, that's where the next generation is, the future talent. But it's more intimate. It's more live and up close and personal and in your face, more interactive. And you're right. That's such a special connection. I've always known it, but I'm starting to see it more and more. My eyes are opening. Sometimes you take it for granted, but just how special the fans are, how much you guys are, because we're nothing without you. And like vice versa, like, it's a symbiotic relationship. We need you and you need us, but we pull you out of your everyday life and take you on a fun little journey. It's like watching a live action movie for 2 hours. You forget about your day and your worries and your troubles. And we help fill the void in a little way and just, take your mind off things and give you some excitement and some action. And for you guys, for us, it's you guys are help paying our bills and helping us get more experience and learn this craft and understand and listen to a crowd and just survive. Like, at this point in my life where I'm at in wrestling, like, I'm nothing without you guys. You guys help pay my bills. You buy the merchandise, the tickets. That's how I'm surviving and getting by every day. And I'm nothing without you guys. It's a different beast on the independent level. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, legit, you being here really, truly means the world to us, man. We got like 40 subscribers on YouTube, but here you are talking to us, just opening up about your story. And that's something we really appreciate. We also have noticed you have done these interviews for these smaller wrestling channels. What drives you to do this sort of thing with those who probably aren't going to give you the exposure that a lot of people would say are worth?
Well, I think it's, number one, I think it's always important. Like, I cut promos for all my matches. I try my best. And just talking, it's reps. It's no different than like getting matches. It's reps. That's how you get better. It's how you get good. And talking is no different. Cutting promos for matches and getting promos done for that. And it's the same deal. This is public relations. This is PR. This is great practice. And it's not even like, I don't even treat it as practice. I think it's important. I am looking for more exposure. Of course I am. I am trying to get to the next level. Of course I am. And I don't think I'm going to do that if I just sit on my butt and wait for people to come to me. Because a lot of times you got to go to them and knock on the door. But also, it's good just to like get out there. And it helps both of us as far as I'm concerned with your product and my product. And we're collaborating together. And I think it's important. I think more people should do this. Just talking about why we're here right now. What drove me into wrestling? What am I doing next? And getting to know you great people that support us. And just getting any press is good press as far as I'm concerned. And this is a form of media. And I'm most definitely going to take advantage of that and use it the best that I can, promote it. And it's too bad, so sad for other guys that think they're above this or don't need the practice. Or I think it's what you got to do. This is my job. I work out, I train, I eat, I do my events, I wrestle, I get my merchandise set up. I look for other ways to expand my horizons on social media. And this is one of them, is doing these kind of things. That's part of my job. And it's fun. I'm living my dream, and this is a fun job. I could be stuck working retail or at a fast food restaurant, and all the respect to people that do that. But to me, it's not fulfilling. I'm blessed that I'm at a point in my life where I'm doing something fulfilling with myself. And even if I'm sitting there folding up t-shirts, getting my merchandise ready, it might be a little tedious, but then I got to remind myself I could be doing a lot worse things right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed by God. I'm doing what I love to do. And this is fun, just interacting with you guys. Like, this is my job, and it's fun. And I don't know, I went off on a tangent there, but hope I answered your question.
Speaking of breaking into the industry, since we're all in different aspects of the entertainment industry, how did you approach into the wrestling industry? Because I can't imagine it being easy.
That's a great question. I got a pretty unique story, actually. So I started out backyard wrestling from age 12 to 17. And my nickname's the Crazy Mofo Kamikaze. And my old backyard wrestling promotion was called Crazy Mofo Wrestling.
CMF Wrestling, #1 company in the world. NWA, TNA, fuck them. WWE, fuck them. Japan, fuck it. Europe, fuck it. Mexico, doesn't matter. CMF Wrestling is where it's at. CMF Wrestling is the best damn company you'll ever find. Wrestling worth watching? Take a look at that logo. That's exactly what it is. Wrestling worth watching. You won't see any of this shit on WWE. Vince McMahon's got Alzheimer's. Fuck, he doesn't know what he's doing. CMF Wrestling, 3W. Wrestling worth watching. Enjoy it. You're gonna love it.
So that's kind of where that came from, CMF.
I'd buy a ticket.
But yeah, we took it very seriously, put everything in slow motion. We had a wrestling dummy. We tried to just watch how things were executed properly. We took it very seriously and treated it very professionally. When it was all said and done, in front of like 173 people in my backyard. We're having big houses, big crowds, wrestling in front of like over 600 people multiple times in my high school gymnasium. But then I found a wrestling school called Monster Pro Wrestling in Edmonton. I was 17 years old and I lied about my age. You had to be 18. I was still 17, hadn't even graduated yet, hadn't even got my diploma. And I lied and said I was trained when technically I wasn't, just self-trained. And I took a Greyhound bus like 15 hours from Medicine Hat to Edmonton. And I worked a singles match and a battle royal at one of their Camp War shows, which is like a practice event, a free show for their trainees and just for the fans to come. It's a free event. And that was my first getting into things. And I was very lucky that I didn't get the crap beat out of me or someone didn't break my leg. But I held my own, to be honest with you. I actually did better than my opponent, who would admit that later on to me, Shane O'Ryan. He retired and he gave me his boots, so I actually wear his boots, the guy I had my first match with. But yeah, I held my own, but there's still, like, you need to go to wrestling school. You need to learn the tricks of the trade. I was self-taught quite well, but at the same token, there were still little things I had to learn properly. So I worked at a Houston Pizza. I was a dishwasher for a couple months. I saved up $500, which I thought was enough money. Looking back, it's wild to think that. But I had $500, went back on a Greyhound, and I moved to Edmonton, and I started training with Chi Chi Cruz, which was my first trainer, Canadian wrestling legend Chi Chi Cruz. But that's how I got into it. I lied about my age, lied and said I was trained when I wasn't, and that's how I first got my foot in the door back in 2004.
Hey, man, I mean, if you got a chance, you got to take it.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's you need guts, you need balls, you need just a little testicular fortitude, as Mick Foley would say. It made me thinking with John Cena there, because like during that ruthless aggression era, Vince was looking for like the next big star. It's like, who's got it? Who wants to carry the ball? And John Cena just stands up in the back and he's like, I'll do it. I'll go. You need those kind of guts, man. You need to just go for it. And like, no fear, no insecurities. And I don't know, that just made me think of John Cena there too. But it was the same deal. I just jumped into the deep end, didn't know what to expect, but I just knew in my heart I had to get involved somehow, some way. And that was my way of doing it. I couldn't wait till I was 18. You know, I took matters in my own hands for years in the backyard. And then I was like, I'm doing it. I'm jumping into the professionals here. So, and I'm still here.
I'm still here, still kicking, still the Crazy Mofo Kamikaze. How long did it exactly take you to come up with the wrestling character you are now? And did any the clear TMNT inspiration? Like, what would you say were some of those things about how came up to the Kamikaze character?
Well, it is a constant evolution. All the characters, the great characters throughout history, they evolve and roll with the punches, roll with the times. And I was no different. I wore a mask my first 5 years, actually. The promoter thought that because of my style, I was high flying and thought wearing a mask would suit me. And I embraced it. I went with it because a lot of my favorites too were masked wrestlers like Ultimo Dragon, Jushin Thunder Liger, Hayabusa, the great Sasuke. These guys were just, I idolized them a lot. Tiger Mask. And so I embraced wearing a mask because a lot of my favorites wore masks too. But I had so many good facial expressions that were being hidden. So I made sure the eye holes were really big and I had like a hole in the top so my colored hair could pop out. So I made sure I stood out and was different, which is who I am. I just got to be different from the pack. I stand out. And as time went on, my promo game wasn't the best. I could talk, but I still hadn't figured out who I was. And that took a long time. Rome wasn't built in a day, as my first trainer, Chi Chi Cruz, would say. And it definitely took years to piece things together. I did a Ring of Honor tryout with Adam Pearce, and I did it without my mask. And when he found out that I had a mask, he was like, get rid of it. He's like, what are you wearing a mask for? He's like, all your facials are so good, all your selling and facial expressions. It's like, you don't need that. So that's when I got rid of the mask, is because of Adam Pearce, actually. And I never looked back. It was very constricting. It was hard to see. It was hard to hear. It was hard to breathe. I thought I had bad cardio for 5 years, but it was just the mask. And a lot of times, yeah, like it was crazy, man. It was like a big hindrance. I rolled with it, but it was a hindrance. And a lot of times I couldn't hear properly with spots being called. And I just like on the fly, just like figure it out by reading body language because I couldn't hear properly. So it was crazy. But I never looked back. I was glad I did it. And then when I trained with Roddy Piper in 2011, so I lost my mask in 2010. And then 2011, I trained with Roddy Piper. And that's when I started learning more about the character and the promo. And I really credit Roddy Piper for just piecing things together and finding myself and amping myself up. I have to give it all to Piper. And honestly, now I'm at a stage where like it's like second nature because, like I said, practice, always talking all the time, cutting promos, doing interviews, doing podcasts.
Going on top of that, after doing a bit of research and looking at other interviews you did, you said you went to school for acting for a short period of time. Did that help with your character in any way or your promos even?
Yes, actually, I'm sorry I didn't bring that up. So in high school, I was in drama class and I excelled at that. That was probably my best class I did. And
I figured.
Yeah. And then I went to college for a year before I moved to Edmonton. And my uncle was a doctor and he just wanted me to try college just to see. And if it wasn't for me, it wasn't for me. But at least give it a try, he said. So I did. And I went for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama and Acting. I did the first 2 semesters, a year of it. And I did very well. I was in productions. I was in plays and stuff like that, live plays. But it wasn't for me. I loved the physicality of wrestling. So I just didn't enroll in my second year. But yeah, I was very good. I won awards in high school and junior high. I was first place for a lot of things, outstanding achievement in drama and stuff like that. So yeah, I had that charisma and the talking and that it factor, I guess. But then just piecing it together, like I said, until 2011 with Roddy Piper. And even after training with him, like he gave me all this knowledge, but it still took time. And it wasn't until about 2013 is when I really started to really get into who Kamikaze is. And that's when the Ninja Turtles reference started to come up. Because I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan. And one of the boys was like, because it was hard to like announce where is Kamikaze from, because the look I have and stuff is very unique and different. Yeah, I can't just be from like New York City or Boston, Massachusetts. And one of the guys is like, you should be from Dimension X, which is a Ninja Turtle reference. And it fit perfectly. It was like Parts Unknown or like it just fit. It was different and it suited. Yeah, this guy's from out of this world, straight out of the pages of a comic book. Dimension X, good Ninja Turtle reference too. So
Dimension X, because it sounds really cool, and I can only imagine you've been around quite a bit in other countries and everything. Like saying you're from Dimension X is way better than saying you're from some town in Alberta that no one's ever heard of.
I was announced from Medicine Hat, Alberta, just because I wanted to represent my hometown, Medicine Hat, but it didn't fit. I was just doing it because it's my home, it's in my heart, but it didn't fit the character. Dimension X that's the one. That's the keeper. For sure.
So Cam, what would you say were some of the worst bumps or injuries you've had throughout your long career?
Ooh, I gotta add something to this because you tore your ACL. Yeah. You tore your ACL and you wrestled without an ACL. That was fucking nuts when I heard that.
Yeah, I would think that. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. That's probably the worst injury, and I would not recommend doing that ever, boys and girls. I tore it very early on. 2006, I tore it. I did like a corkscrew pescado to the floor, and one of the guys didn't catch me, and my leg clipped the steel guardrail. I dented the guardrail with my leg, and I tore my ACL. And I remember hitting the floor, and I knew something didn't feel right. And the referee grabs me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And he didn't hear me, and he goes, "Are you okay?" He like asked me again, and I was like, "Yeah." And then I just kept wrestling. And we wrestled for another 10 minutes. And then later found out it was torn. And I was just so young and you couldn't stop me for anything, man. I just was young and dumb and too much pride, I guess. But I just kept going. I wrestled for 2 years and 9 months before I finally got knee surgery and fixed up. And I don't know how I didn't re-injure or hurt myself more, or even because usually you'll tear the other one, because I was putting all the pressure on my good knee, doing everything. I take pride in it, but at the same time, it was very stupid. I don't recommend anyone doing that. You get hurt, just get fixed up, get your surgery. Wrestling isn't going anywhere. It's going to be there when you get back. But I was just so young at the time and just didn't want to stop. And it taught me a lot. It taught me how to work. It taught me that it's not all about the high spots and the high risk stuff that, a lot of guys get over for what they do instead of how they make you feel. So that was a transition for me, is like, instead of getting over by what I do athletically, I was now having to be more smarter and put things in the right place and make them feel emotions. And that's the real art behind it anyways. All the fancy flippity dippity stuff, that's icing on the cake. And this day and age, so many guys can do that now that it's like, you got to find other ways to stand out.
It's just not all that special anymore. You see these guys fall through a plate of light tubes, barbed wire, and glass on like 4 ladders, and you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, like we're desensitized, right? It's just, it's sad. It's kind of, I don't know what to say about it. I remember training with Dr. Tom Pritchard at Florida Championship Wrestling, which was the developmental territory at the time. In 2010, I did a tryout there. And that's actually the same tryout that Tyler Breeze was signed at. Him and I traveled there together, and I stayed at his house and stuff, and he ended up getting signed. But I remember Dr. Tom saying, like, if you see like 2 elephants in the middle of the road when you get up in the morning, get out your house, and they're just like going at it, that's like, it's crazy. It's like, wow, this is incredible. Like, there's 2 elephants in my front lawn just fighting one another. But if you get up every morning and you see those 2 elephants every day fighting it out, in the street, eventually it just is like, oh yeah, well, that's 2 elephants. I see it every day. That's what's kind of happened with wrestling right now with a lot of the high risk activity. It's just
too
like
repetitive.
Yeah, it's like, meh, I've seen it already. So many guys are getting killed, lit on fire, sliced and diced to pieces. It's like, meh. It doesn't mean anything anymore, sadly. It's a sad state of affairs. I don't know what to do about it. When you think about it, like, people are just desensitized. Less is more, I was always told. It means more when you do less. Things mean more. But we're at a point where guys are getting their necks fused and back surgeries, and neck fusion surgery is like just going out of style now. So many guys are getting it at such a young age. A lot of these guys, their careers are just not going to last long.
And retiring early.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all about longevity. I want to do this like Vern Gagne and Billy Robinson and Nick Bockwinkel. I want to go into my 60s if I can and do this, but you got to be smart and you got to pick your spots, and less is more. And it's a time and place to do things. And these guys this day and age are just going 110 miles an hour and killing themselves, literally killing themselves.
You definitely do have to pick your spots. However, we mentioned before about how the opportunity can come when you least expect it. You yourself have wrestled with a torn ACL. So I can understand that, hearing stories about Triple H being put in the walls of Jericho with his quads torn up, and all these other guys wrestling with these injuries. And you don't want to be the other guy who is just like, oh, I can't do it. Or, you want the respect of the boys in the back. But I mean, again, it does add to your credibility in some kind of way. A lot of people are going to know wrestling with your ACL torn. That is legit. You are a crazy mofo, but again, you're not going to recommend that to your mentee or anything like that.
I know where you're coming from. I think there is a difference, though, between like getting injured in the ring and finishing your match and continuing on for a bit, and then finally getting surgery and fixed up, and then just like, getting dumped on your head with reverse hurricanranas and flipping pile drivers, Canadian destroyers on the ring apron on the floor night after night. Like, there is a difference there of just, you're not working smart. You know what I mean? Like, it's going through light tubes night after night. And I know we're all trying to get noticed, but when everyone else is doing it and doing the same thing, you're not standing out. You got to get more wiser and creative now this day and age, I find, to stand out from the pack, which is what I always tell the new generation now is like, be the first version of yourself. You don't just copy trendy, indie-rific stuff that's flash in the pan or like you see it on TV. So you want to try and be different. That's why watching old footage is so important, because you can take old stuff and make it your own, and it becomes new again. You know what I mean? Instead of just copying modern stuff that's trendy right now. Like how many reverse hurricanranas, Canadian destroyers, that little Sin Cara kick on the ring apron everyone does. Like, there's just things that everyone does now. Everyone thinks they're like a ninja, throwing all these crazy kicks all the time. We got to start standing out and being more individuals, I think, for sure.
Yeah, you see all these wrestlers in these high risk things, and they're all fine. But again, it's high risk, a high reward for a reason. Most of the time, you see the success rate, but then sometimes you see careers ending because they're doing these crazy things.
It'll definitely shorten their careers more than ever before this day and age.
In a way, I feel like all three of us, we've chosen our passion. We've worked years and years on it, and it's a craft we're going to continue working on. However, being a music producer and a writer is very different from being somebody who puts their actual body on the line.
I mean, I'm risking my mental health being a writer, so...
I mean, look,
you're burning out.
Look, a couple of worst case scenarios for me. It's like, I make a song, I don't like it later, I can delete it. Or I make a song, I don't like it, it gets big, and then I'm stuck with it. But worse, for someone like you or like your peers, they do something that they saw on TV, they fall they're just slightly off, and then that's it.
You gotta respect it. Respect the game.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it is dangerous. I try not to think about it, and I guess I'm used to it because it's been my life, and that's kind of why I like it too. Is that just physicality behind it? But yeah, it is. It's not for everybody, and a select few can do it properly, and then there's a lot that try and copy and emulate it and cosplay it. And they don't do a good job of that either. But, it is what it is.
So speaking of mental health, how do you separate yourself from your character? Because I reckon you wrestle almost all the time. So you hear stories of wrestlers getting too in their head with their character. They barely hear the real name, and it kind of messes with their head. So they have to step back a bit and touch reality. How do you go through that?
Well, that's a great... it makes me think of Ric Flair. I think there's like a switch, the switch that goes on, right? It's on and off. And I think Ric Flair's switch is just permanently on, like he's just Ric Flair now. But you do need to have you got to get back to reality. You got to get back to who you are as a human being and who you were born and raised as. And no, I think I'm pretty grounded. I have a good balance, thankfully, like family life, being home with family and friends and the girlfriend and childhood pals. But yeah, I mean, it's that red light fever. When you go through that curtain, you change, you transform. But I remember I was so tunnel visioned when I first started that I just lost contact with family and friends. I was so focused. I remember my dad would always call me and make sure he called me, and I was terrible for calling back, my mother and my sister, and I lost contact in a lot of ways in those early years. So I actually had to get a tattoo of their names here just to remind me that I have family and I have, it's more than just wrestling. There's more to life than just wrestling. It's as much as it consumes you. There's family, there's friends, there's the good Lord above, God, Jesus Christ. There's more things that are more important in the bigger grand scheme of things than just wrestling. So you got to stay grounded in that respect. And I think I'm at a place now in my life where I'm pretty balanced and grounded in that respect. But for a long time, when I first broke in, it was tunnel vision, and that's all it was. I just ate, slept, and breathed wrestling. And I still do, but I have more of a balance now. But I didn't have a balance before. I didn't have any hobbies, nothing like that. It was all about the wrestling. And I had to repair a lot of relationships with family and friends over the years because of that. And that's a learning process too. But yeah, it took time to figure that out and mature. And as you got older and wiser, you put those things together. And thankfully it wasn't too late to fix a lot of those type of things too. But yeah, it's a mentally mutilating industry, we like to call it, because there's people, like I was saying, there's mediocrity being rewarded, and you just know you're more talented than this person, but it's all political because they know this person and that. A lot of it's just who you know, and right place, right time, circumstance, the stars aligning. It's show business. It's entertainment. That's how it is. Who you know is a big one. So it does get to you. It gets under your skin when you see mediocrity being rewarded, or you just know you're better and more talented and more marketable and more charismatic than certain people. But you got to keep grinding and focus on yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. But that can drive you crazy. I know a lot of guys that went off the deep end. I've went off the deep end and was out of the business for 7 years at one point because I just lost my mind. It does that to you. But I think now I'm at a strong point, have a better perspective on things, and more focused, and just have a good balance. But I've seen a lot of people come and go and never come back and just go off the deep end because it is a mentally mutilating profession. For sure.
You got to take a step back to take two
Step
steps
back.
forward. Talking about the greats like Ric Flair. Obviously, he's Ric Flair, and he's going to have a place in the world of professional wrestling forever. But you hear stuff about his personal life, and it's not exactly the most
sad
thing. But in a way, it kind of makes sense. He's Ric Flair because he put in all the time and effort into his character, which maybe he could have put more time into his family, and maybe he could have done more personal stuff. However, you hear stories about the greats all the time.
The sacrifices, right? The sacrifices that are made.
I mean, like, this one's a little off topic from wrestling, but one of the greatest bass players of all time, Jaco Pastorius, this guy can play a bass like nobody else. Like his fingers were magic. When he said he's the greatest bass player of all time, you believed it. However, the last few years, it was a complete mess. He was homeless. His family completely left him. He couldn't find a gig just because of how unreliable he was. But it's all because he was a legit savant. But to get to that point, the rest of your life is going to fall apart.
It's true, man. It's you're right. I mean, there's sad situations, tragic situations, and you kind of just have to look at that and learn from it. Yeah, you're like held on a pedestal in this industry as one of the greatest of all time. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm learning as I get older and wiser is like just the integrity of a human being. You know, how good of a human being are you? You could be the best of the best in whatever profession, but like the sacrifices you make and the disconnects you have to make with family and friends, I guess it's worth it at the time. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not worth it because your character as a human is very tainted because of what you've had to do and sacrifice and almost sell yourself, sell your soul in a lot of ways for that fame and fortune and that notoriety. So you got to learn from that. And the balance is key. You got to find that balance or else you will end up, homeless and no friends and just, it can do that to you. It's a monster. You got to be careful. You got to see and learn from others. And there's plenty of people to learn from, as we know, throughout the history.
Yeah. Yeah, so, definitely. I mean, I guess it all just goes to show how much do you really want the chance to be known as one of the greats.
Right. It can come at a heavy burden. Absolutely.
Somebody like Gama Singh, it revealed in the documentary then when his little short stint with WWF, they're playing around with the idea of him carrying around a snake. And we know who carries around a snake. The thought of what if Gama Singh decided to just give his life to professional wrestling and become the snake guy? Like, would Jake the Snake be a thing? But, we don't know that because he stopped with WWF so he can be with his family. And because of that, we have the Karachi Vice. And of course, is one of the things in Stampede Wrestling that people instantly know of.
Yep. Another thing it just makes me think is like, it's a good point is like, that's a good thing when I'm talking about integrity and your character as a human being, as a man. He chose his family. And I've met Gama Singh many times, and he's a hell of a great human being. He's a great man. He's healthy. He's got no issues, no drama, no skeletons in his closet. And it's because he took the higher road. He had integrity and he had love for his family. And I mean, not that, no, I am going to say like that's important. Family comes first. God comes first. Wrestling, that's just an idealistic thing. And he's a good example of having integrity and keeping it. And other guys have sold themselves and paid the ultimate price in death and in loss of relationships. So like it's a balance. You got to just be careful. You're playing with fire, I guess. You got to just be in tune with yourself. But he's a great example of rising above and beyond and being a good human being. You know what I mean?
As much as we love professional wrestling, it's a business riddled with some pretty awful people. So it's legit so amazing to hear the story of somebody who's just... It's not a story of greatness. It's a story of goodness.
Well said. Story of goodness. I like that. I like that a lot. That's well said. Yes.
Who are some of your favorite to work with in the ring?
In the ring? Oh, man. Danny Duggan, I've had some of my best matches with him. He's the promoter for Canadian Wrestling's Elite. He's amazing. He's a really good worker. Andrew Hawks out of Newfoundland. I don't think he wrestles anymore. Always had really good matches with him. Good high-flying exhibitions, I should say. And then... the Omen, Gabriel Lestat, who we used to tag together as the Brothers in Flight. He used to wrestle as Eclipse when he had a mask and I had a mask. Really good matches with him. For stars, Chris Masters of WWE. I really take pride in that one. Oh, he's like a muscle.
Chris Masters.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Chris Masters.
Yeah, man, amazing. Absolutely. he was like a muscle-bound WWE superstar, and I'm not the biggest guy in the fight. So when I can go toe-to-toe with him, have a believable, good story being told, it let me know that I can hang with these guys. That one always stands out to me. I got to wrestle Sami Zayn, El Generico, when he was still El Generico in his last match before he got signed to WWE. That was really cool. Ultimo Dragon, getting to work with Ultimo Dragon, one of my favorites, idols, tagging with him and wrestling against him. Juventud Guerrera, Savio Vega stands out. Shane Douglas, having like a hardcore match with Shane Douglas in my hometown. Just like crowds chanting ECW, and we're just hitting each other with trash cans and bottles. It was cool. That one stands out. Brian Kendrick recently got to tag with him and work with him. What a class act, and what a hell of a worker. I get to tour with him again in the new year. I can't wait to see him again, but he stands out too. That was an awesome time. Yeah, I've been very lucky, man. There's been some cool names for sure.
But this question is for us because, again, we are such big fans. What was it like working with Chelsea Green?
Okay, so she was still green, literally green, and like still getting her feet wet, but she was a sweetheart. I got to tour with her, and I helped her out. I gave her some advice on things, just starting out. So I remember she was just getting tryouts and looks. So I just told her little bits of advice, like just wipe your feet before you get in the ring, little things like that. And it's just amazing to see what she's done with herself. But yeah, she was a sweetheart. And a funny little story, like she didn't know anything about wrestling, didn't know who Shawn Michaels was, didn't know any of the history. So it's crazy to see, like, you know, good on her, you know, and I'm sure she knows a lot more now. But at the time, like, she just was just this innocent girl getting involved in this crazy business and didn't know anything about it. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yep.
I remember in I forgot what interview she did, but she said she dropped out of school or something. She went into a wrestling school and said she wanted to be the next Trish Stratus.
Right.
So,
but going from not knowing who Shawn Michaels is to being the first women's United States champion, I mean, like, that must be, like, that's pretty impressive.
It is impressive. And she's a good example of, like, I've seen her interviews. She has a great attitude too. Anything, any opportunity, any little TV time they give her, she makes sure she knocks it out of the park, stands out from everybody else. And any little thing they give her, she makes the most of it and turns it into gold. And that's what you got to do. That's what you have to do. You got to knock home runs every single time, anything they give you. And she's done a great job of that. It's just more political, I think. For whatever reason, she's not getting the bigger push that she deserves politically. I think there's just weird things at work, but she's a go-getter, man. It's undeniable.
Whenever she's on the screen, I am just glued. Not even just about with her, with Piper Niven, Alba Fire. Alba Fire's team, then she was tag team championships with. I didn't believe it. I didn't really care about when she's with the Secret Harvest with Chelsea. She's amplifying everybody, not even just who are tagged with her, those who are against her. That match with Mi Chin where she went into the garbage bin. That's just incredible. Like, she can tell a story. She can just make you believe. It just goes to show wrestlers like her. I mean, kayfabe is absolutely alive and well, and I am 100%.
She definitely has an it factor, right? That's people with it factors can pull you in like that, and she undeniably has that. So it's been good. She's a go-getter, man. She's knocking it out of the park any chance she can. That's what you got to do. I'm very happy to see what she's doing. It's awesome.
You were 10 years in when you were working with her, 2014. How would you say the business had changed throughout the years from when you started it, as opposed to how it is now?
When I started, it was still like that last regime of like tough guys that were just like no nonsense. If you did anything disrespectful, they'd just like beat the crap out of you or throw you out of the locker room. I was still very policed. The business was policed still very hard. And I think we're lacking that. I think we could use some policing to a certain extent, not to like bullying style, but just like, I don't know, it's just, you wouldn't just let any average Joe Blow get in the NFL and start playing. And wrestling should kind of have some policing of itself in that respect, because there's just some cosplayers out there and wannabes that just want to do it because they want to tell their friends they're a wrestler, but they're lacking a lot of things, whether it be athleticism or a good attitude. I don't know. But yeah, I think from when I started to now, things are just, the door is wide open now. Anyone can get involved in this and call themselves a professional wrestler. And there's a lot of mockery involved and a lot of cosplayers, I like to call them. But you can tell the ones that are serious. You can tell the ones that are just playing wrestler. There's a lot of play wrestlers today.
Personally, one thing that I'm not really a big fan of watching the product now as opposed to years ago, you got like 3 different people doing moonsaults. You got like 5 different people doing power bombs. You got these different people with very similar moves, finishers, and even names can sometimes get a little bit, like samey. So it can be pretty hard to kind of distinguish.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. You're not wrong at all with anything you just said. 100%.
I don't think they should get into fist fights over it, but I think there should be some sort of thing. Like, I don't think Jacob Fatu and Tiffany Stratton, who are both on SmackDown, should have basically the best moonsault ever.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. There's room on the events for like, there's got to be like a set thing. Everyone has this certain thing that makes them unique and stand out, and a good variety. Variety, that's what we need. More good variety and innovation. There's a lot of same old, for sure. Cookie cutter stuff.
I feel with the WWE, as me and Brian like to complain about them, as of late, they're just kind of going with what sells and less about characters. It's like, okay, what brings us money today? They're getting the most pops. We're going to push them. If they're not, okay, you're back to the end of the line. We lost that magic of those, how me and Brian feel. We kind of lost that out of larger than life characters. We see the company generic cookie cutter bullshit that we see on TV.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're not wrong at all with that. And that's been happening for a long time. But I will say we've hit like kind of like a wave again of like we're in like a peak business time. And especially with TKO owning things, I think it's gotten a lot more cutthroat with everything you just said. It's just about what's making money, what's selling right now. I know someone who's in developmental at the moment, and like 10 guys just got cut without them even knowing it. It's very cutthroat industry, and even more so with TKO involved, just this big conglomerate corporation involved with it now. I don't know if that could be fixed or what the deal will be. It's interesting to see, but I do know this, that with everything, wrestling's in like a peak right now, and it's definitely trickling down into the independents. And I'm riding that wave, and all of us are riding that wave right now. Like, attendances are great. People are loving wrestling, coming to the live events. So you got to just make the most of it. But up in the big leagues, man, it's a shark tank. I don't know. It's a tough place to survive. Creativity, mediocrity being rewarded. It's, lack of innovation. There'll be some star that'll appear out of the shadows and really turn heads and change things again. But I guess we got to just wait and see when that happens. The next big superstar.
Indie wrestling is a little cheaper to go attend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, $20 to sit at the front row is way better than like.
I'll take that any day.
$1,000 for 2 seats.
That's another thing.
$1,000 for nosebleed seats.
Yeah. That's another thing. I think it's gotten a little, like you said, with TKO involved, this corporate greed. Who can afford this? My dad is blown away. He's like, how could people afford this? Like WrestleMania tickets, it's insanity.
Dude, it's insane. I can't believe they're getting away with this, and people are still buying it.
It's not going to last. People are going to run out of money eventually, and they'll have to downplay it and make prices cheaper. But they're squeezing it for everything they can and getting everything they can out of anybody they can right now, which is corporate America. But it's not going to last. That bubble will burst eventually.
Me and we were lucky enough to go to our first and maybe last PLE last year. Yeah. We went to War Games, and we spent about like maybe $500 on our ticket. Per seat.
So like $2,000 for just the seats alone.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
We'd be nothing without you guys. So there's got to be a point. Like I said, that bubble's going to burst eventually. That's just being greedy in my eyes. There's got to be a symbiotic relationship that we both respect one another and we're not taking advantage of one another. And I feel like the fans are kind of getting taken advantage of at the moment, for sure.
Oh, in your long career, I'd imagine you probably had some brush-ins with some of these major companies, TNA, maybe a little bit with WWE. Tell us about how TKO taking over WWE and the WWE ID program maybe being added to the whole indie world.
It's interesting. I kind of laugh with some of the guys with the ID program. I think it almost causes just more egos and big heads. Now some of these people are like, I'm an ID wrestler. You know what I mean? They think they're just bigger than everyone else now, but it could cause some bad attitudes possibly. But they're scouting for new talent, new generation of talent. So I get where they're coming from. They're trying different avenues, different ways to go about that. So all the power to him. I've had tryouts with WWE several times, and all went really well. One of my most memorable ones, I did extra work for Raw and SmackDown in Calgary and Edmonton in 2013, and I cut a hell of a promo in front of Paul Heyman, and I made him jump out of his seat, and he goes, "Sign this kid!" And then he left the room, and I thought I had a job right there, man. I thought I was signed. But it made me get a tryout at the Performance Center later on. And then Paul Heyman grabbed me later and he told me I had big balls. He just put me over hard. And TJ Wilson, Tyson Kidd, told me that despite whatever happens, that's wrestling's mad scientist, one of the greatest talkers ever. And for him to react the way he did to you, that's a feather in your cap and a notch in your belt. So no one can ever take that away from me. I did my tryout months later and everything was going good. I was the only guy to do 2 promos, which was cool. And then on match day, the last day, 2 guys got in a fight during a drill. And it caused a huge ruckus, a big pull apart. And Bill DeMont was the head trainer at the time. And he was so pissed off that he cut the tryout the day short. So I didn't get to even wrestle in front of him. So I just kind of slipped through the cracks on that one. That kind of sucked. I just did a bunch of cardio drills for 4 days and cut 2 promos. And I didn't even get to wrestle in front of him and show him what I had. So that kind of sucked. They ruined it for everyone else on that one. But I've recently been working with TNA. I've had 2 successful tryouts recently, one in Ontario, one in Edmonton. And things have been very positive, very good. I'm just going to keep knocking on the door. But Talent Relations is digging me and liking me, and I'll just keep on knocking and showing up when they're around in Canada. And I might even go to the United States and just do some work for them too as well. But it's been very, very positive, and I'm grateful for that. I've had tryouts with Ring of Honor, like I was telling you as well. The original Ring of Honor, not the Tony Khan Ring of Honor, the real Ring of Honor. I've been lucky to have these opportunities. I still feel there's a place for me somewhere in this wrestling world, internationally or just somewhere I can contribute on a larger scale as a talent, as a trainer, as an agent, something. I can contribute my talents and abilities on a larger scale than what I'm doing now. So that's why I do these podcasts with you guys. That's why I'm always grinding away. I'm one of the busiest wrestlers in Canada, and I will continue to keep on grinding for you guys. And just to, I know in my heart there's a place for me.
So let's say you didn't take the path of being a wrestler. What would you be doing today if you didn't pursue it?
It was always going to be either acting or wrestling for me. And like I said, I went to college for that year for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in drama and acting. And then I had this revelation in the library of the Medicine Hat College. I was just like, what am I doing here? I was like, I could just move to Hollywood and get an agent. And, I feel better off doing it that way than going to school, which school is important. But I just felt the physicality behind things with wrestling just kind of drew me in more. But if I was going to do anything else, acting in some way, I think would have been it. I also was in home care for those 7 years I was away. And that was a very fulfilling job. I think if wrestling and acting wasn't on the table, that's definitely my back pocket that I can go back to and pursue. I really found it a very fulfilling line of work. And it's not for everybody either, but I could do it and I was cut out for it. So home care sticks out to me as well.
Yeah, my mom's in that field too. She's a care aide.
Oh, nice. That's amazing. No, we need more people like that. It takes a big heart and selflessness. And that, I think, during my time away from wrestling, that helped mold and shape me as well. Because wrestling is such a selfish industry. It's all about you all the time. And when I was out of the business, I just wanted to give back and help others and not have it be about me all the time. And I was praying to God, and I was just like, I want to help and give back. And then ask and you shall receive. This home care opportunity fell into my lap, and I looked after a gentleman with MS for 3 years. He was a blessing in my life. Jerry Berg was his name. May he rest in peace. Yeah, home care. We need more people in the world like that, for sure.
That's absolutely sweet. We absolutely do need people like that. A lot of us are inspired to go out and do these huge, great things and everything. But the people who are doing lines of work like that, it's not just work. These are people's lives. Some of these people have lived through some of the most crazy things that you can imagine, and just their stories are just waiting to be told. My mom was in home care for a little while, and I met some really amazing and nice people, and it was always really hard when one of them would pass away, because they would always be so happy to see us kids just go there, ask about them, play chess with them.
Yeah, man. they're just thankful for your time. It's, a lot of times the families of them or their friends, they don't see them anymore. They lose contact and you become their family. I knew very shortly that I loved this man. He was like a family member. It didn't take long and he became a really good friend of mine. It's just one of those things where it's not only the company and the companionship, but it's also helping someone else that can't do things that we take for granted on a daily basis. From eating to dressing themselves, to bathing themselves, to cleaning themselves, all those things that we take for granted. It's a dirty job a lot of times, and someone's got to do it. And there's special people that are built for it and can do it because it's not for everybody.
A lot of people don't realize it can happen to any one of us.
Another thing too, right? Right.
My grandfather, who we called Poppy, he was a man's man. He would be working every single day. He was a trucker. He would do everything for his wife, but he got diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. And just seeing this man who was just a legit man, be wallowed down to like a 120-pound shell of himself. If it wasn't for those caretakers, he would have lived his last bits of life in pain. And you know, for stuff like that, I absolutely appreciate those. And again, not everybody can do it because a lot of people, they just want a paycheck. They just need money, and which is fine. I mean, we all need money, but for stuff like that, like it absolutely takes really special and kind people.
It's an important special role for sure. With great power comes great responsibility. There's a great responsibility with that job. So it does take a special person. With that being said, you're right, man. Count your blessings. Count your blessings for what we have, because the Lord giveth and he taketh away. It's one of those things where one day you're on top of the world, the next, you know, you could be blindsided by something. So always count your blessings, be grateful for what you have. And even if things aren't the best, they could be a lot worse. So you always be grateful, show that gratitude for sure, man.
Absolutely. But on that note, we are going to end it here. But before we
brother.
go, Cam, we're just going to need to ask, what keeps you going? What inspires you? And what do we have to look forward to Kamikaze going forward?
There's a place for me somewhere in the wrestling world. I'm going to keep knocking on doors. I'm going to keep doing podcasts with great people like yourselves. I'm sure we'll be able to do a round 2 at some point. I would love to do that if you're up for that.
You're always welcome here, buddy. You're always welcome.
God bless you guys. But yeah, no, just got to keep grinding, man. You got to stay on the bus. As soon as you get off the bus, other people get ahead of you and other opportunities come. You stay on the bus, eventually something, it could take months, years, 20, 30 years, but eventually some opportunity arises and you got to be ready. You got to be sharp as a tack, which I'm always training, staying sharp, studying, student of the game, critiquing myself, and then just grinding away, knocking on doors, hustling, making contacts. I'm going to continue to just be grateful for what I have because I'm living the dream. I'm a professional wrestler. It's what I've always wanted to do since I was 12 years old. It's my calling, and I'm going to try and give back to the next generation any way I can, just like all the other trainers have done for me. And yeah, man, I'm just going to keep knocking on doors, being grateful, and grinding away. That's all you can do, and stay healthy and keep that longevity alive here because I want to do this for a long time still.
Absolutely. Well, hey, the moment, the day you premiere on TNA, you best believe I'm going to be in that crowd.
Hell yeah, buddy. Yeah, no, nothing's impossible. I'm going to keep on grinding, man. Things are promising, so I just got to keep it up. Yeah, man.
I'll just be watching at home.
Well, God bless you. As long as the eyes are on, we're getting those ratings up, turning heads. That's what it's all about, you know? But I have a 22-day tour for Canadian Wrestling's Elite with Austin Aries will be the name. Starts November 14th to December 5th. That's a big tour. January, I got a 10-day tour in Ontario for Canadian Wrestling's Elite with Brian Kendrick will be the headliner. And then next month, before the tour starts, I'll be doing some shows in Calgary for Real Canadian Wrestling, November 7th. So staying busy, always on the grind, one of the busiest wrestlers in Canada, and thankful for it.
We're so thankful for you being here. We're so thankful for you doing what you're doing. And again, like, thank you for everything you've done. Like,
yeah, it means a lot.
Thank you for having me.
We understand this is your passion, but this is also our escape. So thank you so much for this.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time. It's like a symbiotic relationship. I'm nothing without you, and I help you guys too. So we'll collaborate, and I'd love to do this again with you for sure. I'm going to send you a link to some of my backyard footage. You're going to get a good reaction, laugh at some of this stuff. And I put this up against a lot of indie-rific crap you see today. we were ahead of our time. But I'll send you a clips of that as well. You can enjoy my humble beginnings.
We'll definitely be happy to make some content on that. But on that note, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching Written on the Canvas, and we will see you on the next one.